So it fascinates me the way that the light looks different. It looks really different in the different aspects that you look at it. So the salt, the light comes through the salt down here, and it's not as bright. The candle's sitting about here in the middle, and there's this layer of pinker, darker salt, and then this brighter pink, and then up to this bright yellow. I'm not sure how much of that is communicating through the lens, but if you look at this side, it's got this really nice shock of dark through it. It's really lovely. I've always loved the ambience, the aesthetic of a salt lamp. There's something so much more raw and real about it being a candle. A salt candle, a salt candle, a salt lamp candle, a salt lamp candle. It makes really nice sounds. I always want to lick a salt lamp whenever I see one. Whether I'm in like a crystal shop or my friend's house, no matter where I am, I'm like, oh, I should lick that. I have never once licked this. No matter how much I want to. I want to lick this rock garden so bad. But you can't. Oops. But I'm not allowed because, well, for multiple reasons, but mainly because I bought this salt candle holder from the dump shop. It was a purchase. It was very cheap. It was like $1 or 50 cents or something. And I have wanted one of these for a really long time. And I saw it there and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it. I have to get it. And I have been so happy about that. filming. I need to minimize this. Alright, so back to the ambience of the salt lamp. Alright, I thought of a story. So when I was a kid, I was in year... No, sorry, I don't know what year I was in school. I was 11. I remember because we went travelling overseas. And it was a really big family trip, and we all went, and we went before I turned 12 because I was cheaper as a child, because people under 12 were cheaper. So we managed to get in just before my 12th birthday. So I was 11, and this story does have relevance to salt and salt as a mineral. So we travelled all around Europe. We camped because it was cheaper, and it's all we could afford was camping in Europe. And so my brother and my sister and I were 3 kids with our mum and dad, and they're both older than me. I was the baby, and we camped all over Europe for like 3 months, and it was actually a really great experience. And now we all, of course, have the travel book. But anyway, during our travels, we went to this little place in Austria, I believe, and its name was Hallstatt in Austria. It was this beautiful town. It was picturesque. It was right up in the hills, in the, I want to say Himalayas, but I believe that's the wrong mountain range. In the Alps, right? It was right up in the Alps. And this town had a big lake, and everything was green. And nestled next to the lake was the town itself, but it had a church with its spire, the church spire. It had this really lovely church spire, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. And the whole town would wake up when the church rang its bells. See, in the morning and in the evening, the church would ring its bells to signify it was time for mass. I assume it was for mass in the morning as well, but in my head it was when everyone was waking up. It was definitely when I was waking up by these church bells. And at certain times of the day, you could see, on really still days when there wasn't much wind, you could see the town perfectly reflected in the still waters of the lake. You'll have to excuse the background sounds of the dogs going through the door. That's all Stephanie. So at this town, right, in Austria, this town that I was in when I was 11 in Austria, and it was right in the middle of the Alps, and these really big mountains, really steep mountains, there was a salt mine, an ancient, still working salt mine, and people had been mining salt at this location for a long time. I can't remember the exact dates. I'm terrible with dates, but for, let's say, hundreds of years, humanity had been mining salt in this location, and we went on a tour of these salt mines, and I remember the first thing that you had to do was go up this carriage up the side of the mountain to get to the location Rambles with some Americans who were backpackers, I believe. And remember, I was 11, and I was just in so much awe of them. And then they got to talking, and one of them said that they thought an inch was about the same length as a kilometre. No, a metre. That an inch was the same length as a metre. And my little 11-year-old brain exploded with the idea that somebody could actually think that. I didn't understand that they thought it was different. The words meant different lengths. I thought they literally meant they thought that this long and a metre were the same length. I was gobsmacked. So we went up to this mine site, this historical building, and it was very touristy, and we got to put on these overalls, and they were blue or green overalls, and they covered everything. They were like just long sleeved, long legs, and we got to go on this little mini train ride. I believe my one was blue. I can't remember, but I do remember that I got to wear an adult's costume and an adult's pair of overalls because I was a rather large 11-year-old and the kids' ones didn't fit me. So I got to wear the same clothes as my family, and we all matched, and we went down this mine. So the first thing we had to do was get in this little train thing, and we all sat sort of next to each other in sequence, and then we got to walk for a bit and go down into this like cave, and the cave obviously was a mine that had been picked out ages before, and at one point I remember, I think it was my dad started whistling hi-ho, it's off to work we go, because we were like the 7 dwarves, even though there was only 5 of us, but we were on a guided tour, so it was very much like, following each other into the mines. And I remember thinking it was nothing at all like the Mines of Moria, because I was reading Lord of the Rings at the time. But anyway, when we got to this little section inside the cave, we got, I kid you not, to go down a slippery dip. There was a slippery dip inside the mine that got you down to the lower levels. It was so exciting. You had to put your legs around the thing and slide down, and everyone on the tour got to do it. And then when you got down there, everything was absolutely beautiful. There was a little pool of water, and the salt was all really shiny. I remember it being really sparkly. I really like caves and caving. But yeah, so I remember that about salt, and at one point, it was really funny, back to how I always want to lick these. At one point I did taste the wall, because the guide said something like, and this is the exact salt that you would get and put on your dinner. It's perfectly safe. You can chip it off the walls and put it straight on your dinner. So of course, I had to lick the wall, and I tasted this salt, and it tasted just exactly like salt, And then later, I found out that my sister had secretly, without telling anyone else, also tasted the wall. So that just goes to show, we weren't supposed to touch anything, which is impossible because, we were constantly falling over and touching the walls and stuff anyway, but it just goes to show you can't trust tourists, especially not children. So that's my house dad story. And of how I went down a salt mine and licked the walls. there's this, you can't really see it, but there's this darker patch here. So the flame is down in the middle there, the flame is there. And when you hold it on an angle, sometimes that flame will get really hot against the side of the salt lamp. And the salt candle holder and the smoke builds up and it goes all dark. And that's happening a little bit here, so I'm just gonna a little bit. I'm just gonna clean that off a little bit. And now it's all over my fingers. It's weird because it almost feels waxy. The smooth bits feel really waxy, and then the hard bits feel really rough. Now I could sit here tapping on and scratching this lamp forever, but unfortunately I'm far too distracted by the uneasy background fuzz that I have in this video to make it any longer than 20 minutes. So I'm hoping that I'm just being super sensitive and it doesn't sound that bad when I go to edit it, but we'll find out, I suppose. I really enjoy making this video. This is a fun trigger. The salt lamp is a good trigger. The salt lamp, the salt lamp, the salt candle, the salt lamp candle, the salt lamp candle. It's a good trigger. I will do more with this, I believe, because I like playing with it. I might do one, in the daytime, so you can see what's going on, I suppose. But I really like the aesthetic of the light coming out of the candle, which would be lost in the daytime. Let me know in the comments if you think I should make more videos with the salt lamp. It's making me really sleepy. It's working. There's this little bit here. Makes good sound. This was a good experiment. I think we should do more of this in the future. Alright. I hope you guys liked this trigger. Especially you, Shyla. I said it wrong. Again. Skylar.